She told him to get his black ass out of her seat. The flight crew backed her, dismissing his boarding pass as worthless paper. Cameras rolled as humiliation spread through the cabin. Threats of handcuffs, whispers of fraud, and a woman proudly declaring her status. But what no one knew, what would shatter every smug smile, was that the man they mocked didn't just buy a seat. He owned the entire airline. And his next words would leave the world speechless. The plane hummed with quiet anticipation as passengers settled into their seats. Overhead bins clicked shut, the smell of fresh coffee and recycled air filling the cabin. Then came the snap of manicured fingers and the cold command that froze everyone around. "Get out of my seat." The white woman's voice cut through the air like a knife. She didn't wait for a response. Her hand clamped onto the black man's shoulder, yanking him upward with startling force. His coffee splashed across his jeans, staining him as laughter rippled from a few nearby passengers. She slid into seat 1A with a satisfied smirk, smoothing her designer skirt as if she had conquered territory. Phones tilted upward. TikTok went live. The theft of dignity had an audience. The man stood in the aisle, gripping his crumpled boarding pass. His clothes were plain, his shoes unpolished. To most watching, he looked like he belonged in coach, but the seat number, smudged but visible, read 1A. He spoke calmly, his voice controlled. "That's my assigned seat." The flight attendant arrived, ponytail swishing, sympathy dripping toward the white woman. "I'm so sorry for the disruption. Ma'am, are you all right?" The black man held out his ticket. "This is mine." She barely glanced at it. Her eyes traveled instead to his hoodie, his skin, his scuffed sneakers. "Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Economy is in the back." Murmurs filled the cabin. Phones clicked record. The woman sighed dramatically. "Finally, someone with common sense. I've been a Diamond Medallion member for 15 years. I belong here. Does he look like first class to you?" The attendant nodded knowingly. "Of course, ma'am. We appreciate your loyalty." The man's voice never wavered. "I have the same status. Please, just look at the ticket." But the crew had already made their judgment. "Sir, don't make this difficult. Move now, or we'll call security." A wave of tension rippled through the aircraft. Passengers whispered, some filming openly, others looking away in shame. A teenager whispered into her phone's camera, "This is discrimination. They won't even look at his pass." The minutes ticked down. Departure loomed. Another attendant arrived, then another. Soon, 4 crew members surrounded him, their posture hardening. "Move to economy now, or you'll leave in handcuffs." The white woman leaned back in his seat, grinning like a queen watching her enemy kneel. "This is embarrassing," she announced loudly. "He's holding up the entire flight." The black man stood silently, his breathing steady. Years of composure training kept his expression unreadable. Yet in his eyes burned something stronger than anger: calculation. Finally, he pulled out his phone. "What's he doing now?" one attendant muttered. "Probably calling to complain," another scoffed. "They always do." But his thumb moved with practiced precision, not to call customer service, but deeper. An app loaded, an interface the average traveler had never seen flickered to life. Still, the crew pressed forward. "Security is on the way," the purser barked. "This charade ends now." Heavy boots echoed from the jet bridge. 2 officers stepped aboard. One, a black man with a hardened expression. The other, an Asian woman with eyes that missed nothing. "What's the problem?" the officer asked. The crew pointed instantly. "This passenger refuses to leave a seat that isn't his. He's delaying departure." The officer turned to the black man. "Sir, your boarding pass, please." He handed it over without hesitation. The officer studied it carefully. "It says 1A. The crew scrambled. "Forged. Has to be. Look at him." The woman in 1A lifted her chin. "Officers, use common sense. I belong here. He's lying." The officer frowned. "Ma'am, We deal in facts, not appearances. And then the moment came, the moment that changed everything. The man turned his phone screen outward. The crew leaned closer, confusion shifting to shock. There it was, undeniable, unshakable truth. A corporate portal, an executive dashboard, and at the top, one name, Marcus Washington, Chief Executive Officer. Authority level, supreme access. Owner, 67% of Airline shares. The cabin froze. Gasps rippled like thunder. The purser's clipboard slipped from his hands. The flight attendant's face drained of color. The woman in 1A stared, eyes wide, lips trembling. You can't be... But Marcus's voice cut through the silence, calm, yet carrying the weight of command. I don't just own seat 1A. I own every seat on this aircraft. And what you've all shown me today is exactly why change must come. Phones captured every word. Livestream viewers skyrocketed past 200,000. The humiliation had flipped, its weight crashing down on those who had mocked him. Crew members stumbled over apologies. Sir, we didn't know. Marcus silenced them with a raised hand. Protocol requires you to check documentation. Instead, you judged me by skin and clothing. You threatened me with handcuffs for daring to sit in my own seat. That isn't just a mistake, it's systemic failure. His phone buzzed. He answered on speaker. This is Marcus. Prepare immediate termination papers for employee number 47,291. Suspension protocols for others will follow. The crew broke. One collapsed into tears. Another begged for mercy. Their careers, destroyed in real time, were being documented by every passenger present. And then he turned to the woman still frozen in his seat. Miss Whitmore, he said, his voice deliberate, you claimed loyalty. You claimed superiority. What you failed to claim was humanity. You have two choices, accountability or destruction. The world is listening. Her voice cracked. I'll apologize. I'll do whatever it takes. You will apologize publicly, Marcus declared. Complete service at civil rights organizations, undergo counseling, and become the face of the very training you once mocked. Or I will end your career today. The cameras caught her collapse. Tears streamed as she agreed. Her arrogance dissolved into shame. Applause erupted from the passengers. Phones buzzed with comments of justice, power, and truth. The flight, once poisoned with humiliation, now pulsed with the energy of redemption. Marcus finally sat in his rightful place, seat 1A. His voice carried one final message to every corner of the cabin, every phone, every viewer across the world. Dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not earned by wealth or status. It is the birthright of every human being. And today, let it be known, discrimination will never fly again. The cabin roared in approval. Justice had been served. Don't just watch, act. Smash that like button, share this story everywhere, and drop a comment with where you're watching from and the moment that hit hardest. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because these bold stories of truth and justice are only just getting started.